Hello everyone and welcome back to Always Watching. Today we're discussing another gem of a film, The Secret Art of Human Flight, streaming on demand August 23rd. So briefly, The Secret Art of Human Flight follows Ben, a widower who embarks on a personal journey with an eccentric guru who claims to have the power to fly. Despite the subject matter, it manages to find humor, and there's a lightness to the film that I can't really describe, but it flows really well and it held my attention the entire time. The film primarily follows Ben as he grapples with his wife's death and his value as a husband. Ben's recollections of his wife are shown through these videos that they used to record for one another. These videos include very happy moments, but they also include arguments, disagreements. Like, it's very unedited, uncensored. And I felt this aspect of the film was the most unique because usually when you're grieving someone, you only remember the good. Like, you tend to place the individual you're grieving on a pedestal. But for Ben, not only does he remember the bad times, he has them on tape. And it's really making him contemplate what kind of husband he was, what kind of partner he was, and all these things he could have done better in his life. Ben and his wife, Sarah, were not only partners, but they were best friends and business colleagues. They wrote children's books together. In terms of this theme of grief, again, I feel like it explored it in a very unique way. He tries all the traditional methods, leaning on family and friends and therapy, but nothing is really working for him. And his life takes a sudden turn when he stumbles on this YouTube video of a man attempting to commit suicide but failing. He then goes on this, he then falls into this rabbit hole, into the dark net, in hopes of finding this mysterious man on the internet and just praying that maybe he can help him. I thought Ben's character development was very strong because when he meets this guru and he starts basically following his manual, he knows it's a bit of a scam, but it gives him something else to focus on besides death. In terms of setting, most of the film takes place in his house, and the more he clears out the home, the more he disturbs the space, the clearer his head becomes. I did like this guru, this random man that he found on the internet, because Ben knows that this is very scammy. He pays $5,000 for this manual that has a lot of spelling mistakes and a lot of issues. I think there is something to be said about gurus and courses and individuals that claim they can change your life for a very high price. And this was a very tricky situation because there's no formula for grief and sadness. The movie is literally divided according to this shady manual he buys. And I think I really enjoyed that because, again, maybe for some people the traditional method of going to therapy and talking to friends helps. And for others, I don't know, they might need to sleep on their roof for a few nights. They might need to buy crazy manuals or go on the internet and listen to people just give them that confidence or distraction they need to prevent them from breaking down. And I think there's definitely different avenues to peace, and I never really know how to value and I never really know how to judge these things, because if it does work for you, then it works for you. There is value in that. However, I would give credit to the individual listening to these things and trying to change their life than this guru who claims that he did it for you. I don't know, I like the commentary that this movie offers in this regard. Ben is an interesting character because he basically spends his entire life worrying about what could go wrong, and in the end, everything that did go wrong was just nothing that he could have prepared for or seen coming whatsoever. And I thought the parallels between his relationship to his wife and also his career as a writer really reflected this. I don't actually meet his wife, we only meet her through these tapes, but they were polar opposite. Ben is the type of person that needs to have an ending before he starts. He needs to have everything mapped out before he begins. The cruel irony here is that this is a very young couple. They made these tapes for each other, assuming that they would watch them in their old age. But of course, like, you have plans and God plans, and that's not the case. And I thought this whole metaphor of like learning how to fly was very sweet and very unique, because Ben has always had trouble synchronizing his head and his heart. Like, he's just never been in alignment. He's always overthinking, and he's always worrying and stressing. And it took death, like it took such an extreme for him to finally give up control and just start and accept that whatever happens at the end is not within his control. And again, when you are able to merge your head and your heart, you're literally able to move mountains, or in this case, quite literally fly. And again, I think this is a very, very clever, unique film about grief. It's really like, the subject matter is really dark, but they do it in a way that's quite lighthearted and enjoyable to watch. I thought this was a gem. You guys let me know what you think, and until next time.